Previously, on discernible inferences.
See, this is what Darth says when he says atheist obfuscate. Now, this man is the perfect poster boy. If I could have his picture on a poster on my wall, it would say obfuscator. Okay, now let me read the definition of obfuscate. To make unclear or hard to understand, especially deliberately. Synonyms: to muddy or to cloud. Number 2, to confuse or to bewilder, to perplex, to muddle, okay? To endarken.
Later that week.
Of objects that cannot reduce and be described in terms of physics, and that's like redness. Redness could never be described in a wave equation. A light wave can, but light waves aren't red, are they? So
yeah, I don't have a beef with
so
this.
we have
I think light waves come before red.
Going on. My question to you, discernible, is when you say something like, "Oh, obviously quantities first," where first of all, tell us what these first quantities were.
Stars had temperatures before there were any beings that said, "Oh, that's hot."
Let's stay here. Let's stay here. So star, right? Now, I just taught you that quantity is that which can be measured of the object. So yes, the star will, hold on. The star will, you're correct. The star will have quantities like a circumference, but you have to have the star first, right? The star is qualitative. So in order to get the quantity from the star, you have to start with the real star first before you deduce the quantity.
Did stars have temperatures before they had qualities? Before there was anything to say, "Oh, that's hot"?
Well, anything that has being that can be measured with a scientific device in space has qualities, of course.
To make unclear,
it's in fact you have to start with the qualitative object to get to its quantities. A simple example is the apple. You have to start with this red, waxy, sweet being, and then you invent a tape measure and you get all of its quantities: its mass, its weight, its circumference. But you have to start with the being first. The qualitative object first. There's no such thing as these numbers buzzing around called quantities causing redness. I mean, that's
I don't know why
silly.
You can't answer my question.
What?
Did stars have temperature in the absence of any beings saying, "Oh, that's hot"?
I mean, if there were, stars would be hot, yeah, but if in absence of a mind, no one's going to perceive that.
Hot.
Or hard to understand.
I mean, this is basic thermodynamics. Yeah, it's going to have a thermodynamic temperature. It's going to be a classical object. It's going to be local. I mean, it's going to have all the physics that a hot iron would have. And if there's not a person in the kitchen near the hot iron, no one's going to experience it.
Hot's relative to the perceiver, right? This is why I've asked about the asbestos aliens before, sticking their hand in a fire saying, "Wow, that's cool."
Well, you can do that with any human that doesn't have nerve endings.
Exactly.
Yeah, the human won't feel hot. That doesn't mean hotness doesn't exist.
Synonyms: to muddy or to cloud.
That's because
okay, so I guess hotness doesn't exist now, folks.
Hot and cold are perceived relative. Temperature isn't.
Well, anything, you do realize everything is perceptible that has spatial, in principle, that is spatial. So temperature is spatial, chairs are spatial, everything is perceptible in that way. Now, if you have a brain injury, or if you have, if you have a brain injury or no nerve endings, then yeah, it will warp your perception of reality.
That's true, but you can still measure the temperature.
What?
The temperature still exists, even if the perceivers are messed up somehow.
Yeah, so does redness.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the light wave does,
these things,
right?
Look, anything that has being, whether it's redness or temperature, exists. Now, all of those beings are going to be able to give us quantities, but we must first recognize their qualities to get to their quantities. And we have to stop thinking that the description of the thing is the thing. The quantity isn't the thing. The quantity is simply the aspect of that thing that can be measured scientifically.
But now you do seem to understand that, like, temperature is both logically and chronologically prior to hot and cold.
Well, no, I was saying qualities precede quantities. You were saying quantity precedes quality. So
Yeah,
the
it
hotness
obviously
or
does, 'cause
coldness
then
of
I'm
an
just gonna
object
ask
is the
again.
quality. Just real quick, the hotness or coldness is the quality. A numeric temperature is just an abstract concept, a measurement from with a scientific device. In order to get a number temperature, you need to invent first a scientific device. So what's first about the temperature you're referring to is its hotness or coldness. From that quality, can we invent devices to deduce its number?
Complex to muddle.
So asbestos alien, when it touches the fire and say, wow, that cool, is the asbestos alien saying something false?
Well, I mean, it just means that he lacks the apparatuses to
No, I'm asking if he's saying something
detect.
false.
Yeah, I would say that he lacks the apparatus to apprehend hotness. And you
Is that
don't
the
have
same
to
thing as
keep
being
referring to
false and
aliens.
wrong?
Just
Like, if
refer
he says it's-
just refer to humans today that don't have nerve endings on their hand.
Okay. To endarken.
You don't need an alien
If the
for
alien
that.
says, I think that fire is 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's just a regular fire, are they saying something false?
Well, I mean, it all depends on their measuring system. Yeah,
Especially deliberately.
they're
No,
giving
they're using our measuring system.
Yeah, it's very easy to give the wrong number when it comes to that. If they are misattributing a number on on a thermodynamic continuum, then yes. But that's the beauty of mathematics. If the alien had a mathematics like any kind of legitimate mathematics, then yeah, if he calls it 10 degrees, that's fine. But that's going to be associated.
Our system,
That's going to be associated equivocally and properly to the other gradients that he's measuring, and that's totally fine. To him, he'll
our
think
system,
it's
our
cold.
tools calling a fire 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
What?
Our system, our fire, like our measurement, calling a fire 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that false?
Well, it depends on what the continuum is.
Oh, this man is the perfect poster boy. If I could have his picture on a poster on my wall, it would say obfuscator.
I mean, you could set your reference point to make that 10 degrees, and your measurements would be accurate.
No,
that's
our
if you
usual reference
wanted to do
points.
that.
My God, dude.
But if you make it
qualifications.
equidistant to yes, it would be correct if you can make that thermodynamic continuum equidistant. Then it's fine. You can pivot it any way you want. It's totally fine, and you can rename it and everything. But if it's equidistant and consistent, then you're just giving it's not a new mathematics at all. It's the same mathematics. You've just described different numbers to it. And same with the alien.
That's great,
When it
but
comes to
this is
perception,
obviously not what I'm
the
asking
alien
about.
won't feel it as hot, but so what? Nor would a
You're
human with
obviously
no
changing the
nerve endings.
hypothetical. Like, obviously.
Yeah. Now, if
Like, you're obviously
he's
importing
using,
tons of details because you don't want to answer the question in the obvious
oh
way.
no, I mean it's obvious. If the thermodynamic continuum
No,
is
don't
consistent
import
and
details.
and the 10 degrees and the next degrees is 20 and so on, even if it's for them apprehended as cold, but yet the measurement is consistent, it's totally fine.
Don't
And he
import
can
Obfuscator.
call it
details.
0
You're just
degrees. I
avoiding
mean,
an
he can
obvious
call it
point.
negative 67 degrees.
This is really weak, dude. Stop importing details.
I
Just
don't
answer
think
the
you
question
understand how this
straightforward.
works.
A fire
No, I
is
don't
not
think you
10
understand.
degrees
So,
Fahrenheit.
let me see. Let me try to dumb it down a little bit.
Obfuscator.
No.
Let's say that
Don't
we have a
import
rule,
details.
right?
Don't dumb it
Wait,
down.
no, hold
Just
on
answer
one
the
second.
question the
No,
way
I
it should
think
be
that this is
answered.
going to help you.
And the
Seriously,
answer
I'm not.
is 10
I'm
degrees
trying to help
Fahrenheit
here.
is false.
No, let's take an obvious example. Let's take a ruler, 12-inch
I already
ruler.
gave you an
right?
obvious example. A 10
No,
degrees.
hold on,
Fire
dude.
is
I'm gonna
not
I'm gonna
10
mute you
degrees
if you
Fahrenheit.
don't. You keep interrupting. So look,
That's
let's take
because
a
you keep
12-inch ruler,
bloviating
right?
about other things.
All right, I'm gonna talk.
This is
I don't wanna be
incredible, dude.
interrupted.
The answer is no. A
All right.
fire is not 10
Listen,
degrees
man,
Fahrenheit.
listen. If we have a 12-inch ruler and we labeled the 1 a 2 and the 2 a 4, and we had a numeric, you could totally do that and still call that thing a foot,
Obfuscator.
as long as
That's
your
awesome.
measurement, your units are equidistant.
Awesome.
So,
Irrelevant.
so even if it's, let's say, 500-degree flame, and they're calling it 10 degrees, that's fine, as long as their
Awesome.
other
Irrelevant.
measurements are equidistant. You see how that works?
You're just importing details and obscuring the issue.
Okay.
I mean, our temperature, our system, our recording.
Yeah, I mean, they would say, look, their 500 degrees is our 10 degrees, and you know what I would say? That's great. Then that's fine. We
That's
do that
awesome.
actually on Earth between
units.
Celsius and Fahrenheit. I mean, we already do that, so I don't think you understand that. Look, I guess even the more appropriate example here would be Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Synonyms to muddy or to cloud.
They're the same equidistant measurements.
No.
They're
I don't know why
using the
you're so
same
desperate to just
application of
avoid the
mathematics
question.
in an equidistant continuum, and yet they
So
derive completely different numbers. Does that mean Fahrenheit's wrong? No. Does that mean Celsius
This
is
is
wrong?
all irrelevant.
No. You know, so
Everything you're saying is irrelevant.
Well, no, you said if they were using our system and they were calling our 500 degree 10 degrees, I would say it's totally fine if their other units are equidistant from that.
Obfuscator.
Yeah, you're just importing details to avoid the rather obvious answer. Is that calling a fire 10 degrees Fahrenheit is false, whereas calling it cool may not be false.
The fuck is the point of all this?
Yeah, I mean...
The point of all this is that quantity exists historically and logically prior to qualities. Stars were hot before there were any beings saying, ow. Stars had temperature before there were any beings saying, ow, that's hot.
No, here's how silly what you just said
that's
is.
That's just the fact.
Here's how silly what you just said is. Because you could do that. You could duplicate what you can go ahead and stop appealing to aliens. Just say a human being with no nerve endings on their hand. You can use the same analogy here. Yeah. So if he puts his hand in a fire and he doesn't notice it, it doesn't make the fire cold.
Well, I mean, presumably he doesn't have any nerve endings. He won't experience
and here's the great thing about physics.
Right,
that fire is going. Here's the wonderful thing about physics that you haven't thought enough about.
Okay, to endarken.
Even with an asbestos alien, hold on. Even with the asbestos alien, that 500 degree flame is going to have all kinds of local thermodynamic effects on the asbestos. Now he won't apprehend it. But those effects are going to be what? Heat. Do you know why? Because do you know what heat is?
Temperature.
Heats are the accelerated movement of atoms. And that's what's going to be caused on the surface of that asbestos. And it's going to have all kinds of effects.
Sorry, you're describing heat as the accelerated movement of atoms?
When atoms, when there's heat, okay, there's atomic movement. And so these atoms these atoms produce thermodynamic effects in their local environment that dissipate. Okay, this is entropy, and they never go back to the original placement. This is why you can never reverse entropy. So that's what is happening when something heats up. Let me give you a quick example. If you slide your book on your desk from left to right, it's going to heat up. You're going to move so many atoms and they're going to be buzzing around, and you're going to heat up the surface of your table. That's called friction.
Obfuscator.
Yeah. Now, when you stop moving the book, guess what happens? The atoms slow down, and that's called coolness. That's what we experience as coolness.
Fast is relative to slow, right? We call something fast because it's faster than something we think of as slow. These are relative terms again. You've just swapped out the relative terms of hot and cold for slow and fast.
I'm going to say this discernible. I don't think you're understanding this topic, not to be mean.
Perplex, to muddle.
Can I have a question
you're obviously not understanding it.
Hold on 1 second, Mars. I want to explain this one more time because he keeps interrupting. If there's a 500 or 600 or 700 degree flame licking an asbestos hand from an alien, it's going to have all of the same effects.
Obfuscator.